I wanted to record this video for a few years now. At first I wanted to record myself sitting in some park, but I was too shy to show my face and talk for so long in public, plus I was not sure if it will look okay, and I had many thoughts inside, so I didn't make this video until now. In the beginning of this video had to be a motivational video about making progress, and it will be about it, but not only that. As you can hear, English is not my native language. I was born in Poland. I am lucky that I was not born in some poor country. I had both parents and stuff to eat, and there are people that have much more serious problems, obviously. Since I was a kid, I was super shy and scared of people. I was also very creative, and I still remember drawing when I was 3 or eating some crayons, thinking it will taste as good as it looks. It won't, don't eat it. I was living in a quite bad area, in an old building with violent drunk people and drug addicts. Sometimes I had to make a huge step on the stairs over the sleeping person just to go to school. I was shy at kindergarten, but I remember playing with other people and imagining plenty of worlds, like blowing volcanoes, zombies and cool stories, or making the puppet shows in my room, but something happened and I completely closed myself. Most of bad stuff started to happen when I went to elementary school. I was shy to talk with others, so I was sitting lonely and drawing my sketchbook. People were laughing at me because of that and were beating me. When I was returning home crying, parents told me it's my fault, they are beating me, and who am I? A girl or a boy? And if I weren't like that, they wouldn't beat me. But I didn't want to beat them. I didn't want to become like my bullies. I was really peaceful and I didn't understand violence. And most of my childhood was like that. Sometimes I had some friends, but not a lot and not for long, unfortunately. I was afraid to dress near people from my class because they were turning off the light and beat everyone in the room, so I was dressing at the corridor. At home I was screamed at because I liked drawing. I didn't like swearing, beating, I didn't smoke, but still I felt I'm doing something bad just because I exist. I was yelled at just as people that did so many bad things to me. Once someone pushed me to the other person's backpack. The owner of this backpack thought I'm destroying his backpack on purpose, so he beat me and didn't believe me it was someone who pushed me onto it. Once someone threw my pencil box to the math teacher. When I wanted to take it from her, she thought it was me who threw it to her, and she twisted my arm, screaming at me until I started to cry. My first friend in elementary school stole everything from me, but lied to me it was not him and helped me to look for it, until I discovered all my things in his pencil box. After that, he was spitting on me constantly. Many people told me I have a bad voice. My father told me I have a nose like a potato. Still, when I'm talking with my parents or with my family, I have a higher voice than when I'm talking to others. In later schools, there were some bad situations as well, but the elementary school was the worst, of course. Once, the language teacher threw away my notebooks with my drawings because she thought I don't listen to her, even though behind me people were playing with the light there and were talking loudly or swearing, but probably they were more rich than me. I took my notebooks from the trash after the lesson, obviously. The same language teacher thought I'm lying. I was in the theater just to get a good grade because she didn't notice me. Once someone took my pants off on the stairs. There were plenty of situations like that. And when I was returning home being tired and sad, I was just hearing that I'm not manly enough, that I should do something serious instead of drawing. Drawing was the only thing I thought I was good at, and I was having the best marks in the class on the drawing lessons. I had even the recommendation to go to the art school when I was in the elementary school, but I was a bit scary to go so far alone, and my parents, instead of encouraging me to go there, they sent me to some weird school for disabled kids, where I was beaten again. In my latest school before university, I was practicing some drawings on the margins on my notebook because I wanted to create a comic books for some competition. Teacher saw that and I got my first attention note to my parents in my life. They thought it's something serious, so during the Easter celebration They yelled at me near the whole family that I'm stupid and I'm not learning at all and I have only bad marks, and that was not true. I had quite good marks most of times, and fortunately I won this competition. Later it was more calm to me at school and universities, but I was more lonely, though I had one friend from school and some from the internet. I had big dreams, but I was so scared I couldn't even go to the shop alone. And internet saved me. It was the only place I could find people almost like me and find friendships. I was not scared that someone will beat me. One person that I met in a video game turned out to be living in my city, so I met him. This was the first thing that helped me, but I was still afraid to go alone far. We have a small forest in my city, and once my grandfather, that I didn't talk too much because my parents told me he doesn't want to, invited me to go with him there, and it turned out he understood me more than I thought, and even said to me to not to talk about money with my family because they may steal it. He didn't know it, but it really happened once. He told me he wanted to show me this forest during the winter, because he remembers it from his childhood. Unfortunately, he died, so he couldn't show it to me. And that was the reason why I started to go there alone during the winter. I was scared the first time because it was quite far than my usual destinations. It was the next step to open myself to the world. I also started to go alone to the shops, sometimes to pick up some packages. Later in the internet I met someone that liked my idea for a movie, and he asked me to help him in the production of some little amateur commercial, and luck wanted them to shoot it on my street, even though they didn't know me. It was the pure coincidence. It was the second or third person I met from the internet, and it was the first time I did something I dreamed of with someone. Another time there was a person quite similar to me that lived in another city and really wanted me to go to his home. I didn't tell my parents I want to go to him, because when I was talking about going to another city, they told me, "You would not be brave enough to go there, right? It's not safe, remember." But one day, being very scared and shaking so much, I went there. And it was the first time I went to another city alone. I was adult back then, not a kid anymore, and the city was not even some small city but the capital of my country, so it should be safe, and I never been there. Many people will think that it's weird, but I really started to do things all by myself very late. In my similar age I started to learn how to ride a bike, or rather tried 3 times because of my friend, but still I can't ride a bike. I can't swim as well. Once I tried to ride the motor scooter, even being skeptic about it, and after 20 seconds I had my first accident in my life. The doctor was surprised I can even move my toes. Now I can't stand for very long, and sometimes it hurts after long walks, sometimes even after short walks or when it's the bad weather. But I can walk, and I can pretend it doesn't hurt me, so I look very normal. I walk so well that most of people doesn't believe me. I feel pain and they think I'm pretending, or at least I think so. But I can't stop walking because I really like to walk. But with smaller and smaller steps I started to open to the world even more. I started to go to another cities by myself to see what I want. Even my drawings were printed in some anthologies. Once I even slept in a tent on some music festival, even though nobody believed I can, even myself. I opened up so much that this year I was for the first time in my life abroad in France to see my friends from the internet, and sometimes still I can't believe it. Even talking in English is the symbol of me opening to the world, because even though I learned English watching movies, I was afraid to speak. Somehow my first real job was in English, so I could practice that for more than a year, and that prepared me for my trip to France. To sum it up, I want to tell you that even thinking that you can't do something because the family tells you you can't, the world tells you you can't, and even your brain tells you you are too afraid, take the little steps. Go to the shop near your home, go to the park, and slowly you can even reach another city and maybe years later another country. Don't let others tell you that you are too stupid to make it, or that your goals are too small, that you should have no problems to do it. Everybody is different, and I had so many difficulties just to talk to another person in real life. And many won't understand that problem because they have no problem in talking to another person. And they don't know how much work you have to put just to do that. We should compare ourselves to ourselves, not the others. But it's not perfect, of course. I still have plenty of sad thoughts, still have some problems from the past that haunt me, still lots of jealousy in me. I know lots of people that can't understand me and laugh at me, telling me they are my friends. Because I was so shy, I didn't have many friends. Once a very artistic girl wanted to talk to me, asking for my name. It was at the end of my school. I really wanted to talk back to her, and I really liked the same stuff as her, but in my head I felt so overwhelmed of that, and I felt that I'm not worthy of liking this stuff and people will think I'm pretending. So instead of talking back to her, I ran away. I regret that I'm not an extrovert. I was so shy that I didn't talk about my interests with many people, and many people didn't know what I want, and they are now doing what I wanted to do, while I have problems to find a job I will really like. Sometimes I think I can't like vintage things or old movies just because I like comics or video games. And I'm afraid that some people will think that just because I like comics I'm stupid. Once a person I really liked to watch when I was a kid told me he drew better than me in the elementary school. It was sad. Many people talk about commercializing stuff you want to do, but I still have difficulties just to talk about it. People louder than me will take everything. I'm still afraid I'm not worthy to like or do what I really love. I'm afraid someone will think I'm lying just to be liked, or that I'm stupid because I never mentioned it. I still wish I was more open and less scared of the world to talk about what I love and don't bother the bad comments from others. And sometimes I wish I was more like others, that they're not creative and does not create worlds inside their heads, but for example a typical man that likes violence, sports, cars, and didn't care about all of it. But I won't be like that, never ever, and it's not like I wanna be like that. I still want to be creative. I have big dreams since my childhood, and slowly, very slowly, I am approaching it. But I know that if adults were nicer to me, kids were nicer to me, or I was different, or I was born in a different place, I could fulfill all of my dreams faster and better. But I didn't, and I'm older and older, with only a little progress in some ways, or at all, working in bad places, meeting bad people. But I know I have to remember what I told you before, to compare myself to my previous myself. And doing that, I know that I did a lot of progress, but it doesn't feel that way, because I was always reaching this later than others in my age, or in my area. Way later. Sometimes I'm tired of pretending I'm happy just to not to make others sad. Sometimes I wish I was born a girl, not because I would like to be, and of course being a girl is having different problems and everyone is different, and it does mean nothing if you're a girl or a man, and I would like to be a man, just myself, but I know at least I wouldn't be yelled at that I'm not manly enough, or maybe I wouldn't be beaten so often at school. Or maybe it would be easier to find a peaceful and creative job, because at least in my family, men must be strong and work with your muscles. Creativity is not for men. Men should work in the factory and drink lots of beer. I regret that some people have so much money that can afford what they want, even after doing very little, while others have to do a lot and have almost nothing for it, without any support from the family. There are also a lot of people that use me for their own purpose, but there are days I still believe I will achieve what I want. And after 8 years, finally I finish the mask for my movie I want to make, even though some people think it's trash. There is a lot of hate, of course, and the world is lacking the empathy for the simplest things. But I met people that are very kind, that believed in me. Or sometimes there are small coincidences that make some bad moments good and magical. I'm glad so people saw the real me. Sometimes it's hard to show your real self, but hope is always there, and I hope the hope will remain And with small steps we will all fulfill our big dreams.